We are live. Welcome back, everyone. And yeah, we're back with Dan here this week. And yeah, last week I think we dived right into Solar Edge and the disappearance of Solar Edge, and that seems to have been quite a popular topic by the conversations that people have been having with me. But we're also joined by Ollie from Zinc Electrical, who have been working alongside this week. But yeah, Dan, how are you?
I'm all right, thank you very much. It's been a bit of a rushed get back to the office for getting live here. I think I landed in the office about 5 minutes before we've gone live tonight, so it's been a bit of a rush back. But happy to be here. And funny enough, after speaking about where Solar Edge has gone in the last week, I've installed 2 of their systems.
Blimey, must have been something.
It's made a resurgence.
Yeah, bit of a miracle. But Ollie, how are you?
I'm good. Yeah, I've just rushed back from our job in Loughborough, just over 100 miles, which went well. And then I've rushed the kids into bed, grabbed a drink, and sat down. So here I am. Yes, Solar Edge is still a very strong contender. It's a great bit of kit. So
Solar Edge of the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Certainly the inverters, and I was saying this last week, the inverters and the optimizers for me, it's just 100% where it should be.
Yeah.
And that. But yeah, I thought, well, there's a couple of things I wanted to say. We had an amazing few days down at Elex Coventry last week on the Safe Isolate stand. We had so many people come and visit us and talk to us, and we had a little bit of display on there with a bit of single insulated cable in a meter cupboard, which caused a bit of a stir down at the show. And yeah, so it was a
hot topic of the industry this week, isn't it?
It's a very hot topic, funnily enough, and yeah, there seems to be a lot of content going out about that, not only from Mark, Jamie, which also leads me on to another thing that we did on Thursday. It was the ESK Meetup Curry Night, and I can't really tell you a lot about it because otherwise Jamie might get sued, but it was a good night, and definitely if you're up for a decent curry at Coventry Elex next year, I believe it will be back on again. So yeah, get yourself down there. It's really good.
A different date, because the 11th of September, as it is every year, is my daughter's birthday.
Yeah, it may well be a different date because it's changing venue. I hear you're actually moving to, I think it's the Agricultural Centre at Warwickshire next year. But watch this space for that one. But yeah, Ollie, I thought it'd be really good to introduce you and sort of dive into sort of your journey, possibly into solar, and actually where you've come from going into solar and now performing Zinc Electrical.
Yeah, Zinc Electrical. It's nearly a year since I formed a limited company, and prior to that I was a sole trader for about a year. So yeah, 2 years into Zinc.
Sounds like Ollie's going to be taking us out on a company birthday, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, the company dues at the moment are just me at the pub on my own, so it would be nice to have some company. Christmas do.
I will certainly join you for the Christmas do.
Yeah,
because I'm on my own for the Christmas do too.
Yeah, it's just the nature of being a sole trader or one-man band. You're on your own a lot of the time, but there's a great community around us, so you don't have to be.
Absolutely, yeah, and I think I was going to touch on the fact that, you know, being a sole trader, it is hard work. It's harder work running a big business as well, but you know, sometimes
I can disagree with that one. This is
really
having staff.
Yeah, more organised. Yeah, everyone's siloed into their own roles, aren't they? So it's easier in that way.
Yeah, but it's certainly obviously I'm working alongside you on a lot of projects. I always find that, you know, when there's a few of us working together, it massively, well, the day goes really quick, but also the project goes really quick and we get through the work really quickly. Whereas I know when I'm on my own, I do feel like you work at half the pace for some reason.
Yeah, we chatted about briefly today. We were saying that, you know, we started on some of the containment came up with a plan, and we both started it, got it going, and I continued with that while you thought about the next step, which was ordering the cable to go into the containment, and then you came back.
That's it, yeah.
It just means the job's just rolling smoothly, and there's 2 minds thinking on it, which is
yeah. Think about the next steps. I mean, just to tell everyone, we're working on a industrial fit out this week, so it's not a solar project. Maybe solar on it later and battery, of course. But yeah, we're putting in a lot of containment, a lot of SWAs for industrial supplies. It's a full fit out really. So from basically an empty factory unit to all the supplies and outlets going in, lighting, etc. So yeah, it's big design challenges on that one. It's not ordinary a project I would take on, but I've been using electrical and O&M, and thanks to Mark, who's given me a massive deep dive into electrical O&M. So if anyone's thinking of designing any large scale project, and to be fact, it's actually quite a useful tool actually for even designing some of the solar circuits and designing the AC connections up to that. So it's worth checking out. Maybe we'll dive into that a bit more on another episode.
Are you saying we're going to have to get Mark on for an episode of electrical O&M?
Do you know what? That would be a really good one, actually. O&M and solar designs.
Mark's done some bits for me with OM before, but it's for me it's big brain stuff, and that's where we all aim towards Mark with big brain stuff.
Yeah, it's really, the way he deep dive into it and just showed me how to get on with it. I mean, honestly, I couldn't have had a better tutor on that one, really.
If only you'd open up a training centre.
I know, yeah, it'd be really good.
That's a segue into a plug for his new training centre, isn't it? So,
well, it's literally where I've just come back from.
Yeah, you've been over there. What did you think, Dan?
It'll be very impressive when it's finished, and I've been in Jamie's bedroom, so you know what.
That sounds like a night at the SK Curry night, to be honest. But so yeah, I think we were going to dive into a bit more about sizing the solar systems, designing solar systems, and sort of your take on it, Ollie, and things you've found out about venturing into that world now.
Yeah, I mean, I started with Sam 7 or so years ago, and we did a bit of domestic work.
You did, just as a bit of background, you did have a career long before being an electrician.
Oh yeah, I've had a few different jobs. I started working when I was 16. I was still at school, or sixth form college, but I was temping. My first job was pot washing, which was pretty dire. And yeah, had other temping jobs while I was at school, and then after school I went to university. I was sort of part of this generation that was told to go to uni and, you know, get a professional career. So I studied geography, and I was never that academic, but I went and I enjoyed it. But yeah, after I left uni, it didn't really amount to much. I actually ended up working in IT. So I went into sort of corporate IT sales, and I did that through my 20s. And then when I turned 30, I sort of got to a point where I just thought, I'm miserable. I hate this job. I'm just driving around doing sales meetings and selling these like big enterprise home systems and servers and networks. And yeah, I actually got made redundant. And when I was made redundant, I was sort of sat thinking, do I really want to go back into IT sales? I hate it. So I didn't. And I had a few different jobs. I worked in hospital pharmacy, which was too prescribed. I'm sort of a bit more of a sort of like creative, chaotic person. I like to be on the more chaotic end of the spectrum. But that was sort of too boring, so I left pharmacy. Worked in a friend's bakery for a bit, which was good, but it was just not really for me. The sort of food environment again. So it was almost like catering back in being a pot wash. And then I just thought, why don't I just go and do a bit of sort of labouring? And I actually found Sam on Instagram and said, I'm thinking about sort of doing a bit of electrical work. Could I come out and do like a trial basically, or get some experience? And he said yes, because he just started doing batteries and he was struggling to hunt them around on his own. He was getting his dad to help him and his brother. And yeah, the rest was history really. Sam took me on, and I was just labouring as a sort of subby on a daily basis. You know, I need you tomorrow, I don't need you tomorrow. CIS scheme on an hourly rate. And yeah, pretty quickly things took off. Sam was running over electrical, but that quickly closed and he turned it into over renewables. And yeah, I was basically working for him full time. And yeah, about 6 months in, I thought, I'm working for this guy full time. Why don't I get some quals? So I went to Trade Skill Leeds and actually paid for my own level 2 and 3 MVQs. And then after that, I took a job with Sam, a permanent, employed role, which allowed me to get funding for my apprenticeship. So I did all my sort of formal apprenticeship through Sam and started all that at the age of, I think I was like 31 or 32. That was 6 or 7 years ago. Yeah, went through my training. Obviously, Sam is a really good electrician and like shit hot in solar. and I was kind of his right hand man as he was growing oval. And yeah, got all my quals, did my AM2, done my sort of other quals after that, solar and battery and EV charging, and then yeah, more through my own sort of desire to grow and progress. I left Sam and set up Zinc. It was nothing to do with the fact I wasn't happy working for Sam. I absolutely loved Sam and I loved Oval and the jobs were doing really good. It was more I wanted to push myself. So I set up Zinc and yeah, here I am 2 years later. I survived the first year, which was pretty tricky.
Survive the first year, you'll survive the next 20.
Yeah, it's been a journey. I feel like being a parent, so I'm a new parent as well. My son is 4, my daughter's 2, and my baby is 7 months. I feel like starting a business and starting a family is this massive journey of personal development, and it really forces you to be the best version of yourself you can be. And like all your bad habits have to disappear if you want to help yourself out and not make life too hard. And I've enjoyed it and I'm growing and I'm enjoying the challenge. And I really enjoy being an electrician. I love being on the tools. It's tiring because I'm 39 and I'm knackered, but I love being on the tools. I love the camaraderie. One of the things I'd say about being an electrician compared to working in offices, there's this really strong camaraderie between tradespeople because we all know what it's like to be on a job in the freezing rain, like trying to get it done. You're maybe not sure what you're doing, so you always look for somebody to maybe help you when you get stuck. Whereas when I was in the corporate world, it was like really sharky and backstabby, and you know,
LinkedIn posts slagging each other off.
Yeah, they just like one guy. I got a new inquiry through the business, a generated this inquiry, bought it in, and the sales manager said to me, he's like, "I'm going to give you a share of the percentage on this job." It's this big contract for the NHS eventually. And I was like, great, I'm going to make like a really good bit of commission on this. That's what it's all about as a salesman. Then, because I'd never had that in writing, when he screwed me over and said, I'm not giving it to you, my sales director was like, well, you never had it in writing. So, yeah, I just found the sales world and the corporate world so different to the trades world, and everybody wants to help each other. And even now, Sam is always willing to help me. He's like so good to me. He's giving me loads of subby work, and he said to me, like, if you ever need materials, just take them and let me bill you for them. So yeah, it's been great, and yeah, just about.
I think that's one thing I will definitely agree on with you is like the likes of yourself and Mike and Sam and even Dean and Mark. Yeah. Again, there is a real little strong community out there where we all tend to support each other and get on. And even if you're just a listener to this and you are in a bit of a struggle, I'll listen in my DMs, and I'm sure Ollie and Mike will do the same. You are not on your own out there in the big wide world of electrical. There is other people out there will all help.
Yeah, and like your relationships compound as well. The more you work together, the better it gets, and the more you get back to each other because you just know and you trust each other, and you all just grow together. So yeah, it's been really good. I've really enjoyed it, and yeah, I've found myself in a situation now where I'm just starting to design systems. So that sort of moves into this conversation about how do you size a system? You know, customers going to spend 10, 20 plus £1,000 on you. How do you make sure you get it right for them over the next 25 years? A system, and that's something
have you found your background in sales has helped with that?
Absolutely. Like when I'm selling systems, that's one of my real strengths is talking to my sort of ideal client and sort of pitching the benefits and building the rapport, and selling the systems is something that I've sort of managed to sort of go into quite naturally. It suits my personality. It's a very technical sale, which I was always good at. I was never like a real salesman. I was always quite technical, which helped in the NT world, and it helps in the solar world as well.
So sell on the numbers and the facts of the PV system and how it operates rather than
and I think I'm not like a hard seller. I'm more of a sort of consultative, and you know, it's your property, these are your options, you know,
your investments,
cost, and yes, you know, I'm like you, Dan. I like to make sure I'm pushing for quality and service, and I say to my customers, I can give you quality and service, but you need to give me more time, like more labour time, which costs money, and you need to allow, you know, for better materials. And that's why it costs more to provide quality and service.
I mean, especially because I've been on that journey of one-man bands. My dad helping me lump batteries in and out the back of the van, just like Sam before that. And it's one thing that I will say, especially when you're on your own, and even my stage now, there is only 4 of us now, you're not only selling the system A, you're also selling Ollie or
you and your business.
Dan, or
Yeah.
it's sales is a big thing, and it's selling it on personability and almost a person as well as the system, and we will get into the design of it and how we do it. Is a big thing. So yeah, sales is there's a podcast on its own just on sales and how I like to go about it, and maybe how Mike or somebody else likes to go about it. But when you first meet that customer, so I can be the customer in this instance, where do you like to take the topic of conversation, and how you approach designing that system?
I tend to just ask them what they want to achieve from the installation. You know, why are you doing it? What do you want to achieve from it? What you're hoping to get as an end result? And some people will say to you, "I just want the biggest, like, sexiest solar array, the highest."
I want to be off grid.
Yeah, off-grid operationality that money can buy. And that, as an installer, is great. So, right, I can maximise the roof. I can, completely fill the southern aspect with like a really good panel, do the east and west, and maybe even the northern aspect, and couple it with a massive inverter, massive battery. And, that's your ideal customer who's willing to, stretch the system and maximise what's possible on their property.
I think they're also, going back to sales, I think sometimes they are also the easiest sale.
Yeah, because they're almost pre-sold out, especially for you guys who are, so visible on social media. They buy into you, and they're pre-sold before they even come to you. So they know what they want. They've probably got an idea of the cost. They know you and how you operate. So it's like, do this system for me. I love it. I really want it. And that, on a tangent, is another really good thing about solar compared to electrical, is people want to spend money on it. So it's sort of like this excited, enthusiastic customer, whereas I found a lot of my electrical customers are like, "You want to spend how much rewiring my socket circuits because there's a broken circuit?"
But they work.
It's different. It's a very
Why do we
different
need a new
transaction.
consumer in it?
Yeah. So maximising your roof, maximising the inverter and the battery, that's the ideal customer and the ideal job for me as an installer. But if that isn't so
somewhere then in the middle ground, if someone say got a budget to work to, how would you say approach that one? Would you rather maximize roof space and then maybe look to add battery storage or increase battery capacity in the future, or would you maybe suggest going with a bigger inverter, bigger batteries from the get-go, and maybe a smaller array? Where would you go with, say, the middle of the road customer that maybe hasn't got a bottomless pit of money?
Yeah, obviously, if someone's on a budget and they say, I've got like £7,000 spend, I want a system. You're then looking at what's the most we can give them for that, and you obviously have to present the options. Do you want a battery? Because the battery can be a big part of the cost, and just buying those big batteries. So yeah, that's an option, is working to the budget. And then obviously there's ways to play with the budget and sort of say, well, why don't you buy as much solar as you can now, £7,000, maximise the roof, but leave the battery for later, and we'll specify hybrid inverter. That's
the way I tend.
That's a really good way to picture it. And with batteries now being VAT-free as well, which at start this year,
I think it was, yes.
Yeah, that's an option now, because previously batteries were not VAT-free. It was just solar. But if you wrapped them into the solar contract, you could do them VAT-free. So now that batteries are VAT-free, you can say, well, hey, batteries are VAT-free, and the labour is minimal, so let's just add them later. And I often say to customers, why don't we just start with one module or no modules, and you could always add them in later. So that is a good budget option, yeah.
Especially when you start.
I suppose if you
scaffolds and stuff in as well.
Yeah, the scaffold's a big cost, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, and if you choose the right hardware, then adding the batteries later. In the case of like something like a SIG or an Alpha, it's just a case of dropping the battery in.
Yeah.
Realistically.
Just drop.
So
it's play, isn't it?
Virtually, I mean, there's a little bit more to it, like with the handling and making sure you've got the area free for it. But it's a lot easier now to add a battery. You're not adding a separate hybrid inverter for the battery, whereas before you were connecting to a string inverter, which needed a hybrid inverter for the battery. So it's a lot more readily available.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's
Yeah.
it, yeah.
I think I've quoted one this week where it's a fit system, and I've tried to steer them down the route of, look, let's put a hybrid inverter on there. We'll avoid the G99s. We can fit a net meter. We can keep your fit tariff. It's a much more streamlined process to do that if you don't need all of that discharge and solar discharge at the same time of above 3.68.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think it's tech.
And I think if you're experienced if you're experienced in the requirements for the feed-in tariff and not, disturbing or wrecking what they've got in terms of the feed-in tariff, then it's quite a good way, because those inverters potentially might be coming to their end of their lifespan as well.
This is it again. An inverter life is what, 12 to 15 years.
Most, yeah.
15 years.
Yeah.
With that customer that I spoke to yesterday is getting 76p for generation.
Wow.
Yeah. Early adopters.
Yeah.
Definitely,
what, 15 or 16 years left on that contract as well.
Yeah,
Wow,
those juice systems. I mean, those incentives worked, didn't they? Now, look at the rate of adoption for solar. It's just the market's booming and everybody's putting it on. So, yeah.
Do you see it continuing to boom, or do you see a dip coming in it?
I think everything goes in cycles. It's just the nature of everything. I think the market will remain strong for a time until the UK works out what we're doing energy-wise, because across the whole of Europe and probably the world, we have one of the most expensive, purchase costs for energy. And
isn't it just we signed a deal with America for nuclear power sharing or something or other?
Yeah, there's all sorts of stuff that gets talked about, but there's so much lag in these systems that even if we sign something today, which we wouldn't, because
I think 15 years.
It would just take forever anyway. We were talking 2 years ago about these Rolls-Royce mini nuclear reactors. They're saying, right, we're going to put 20 reactors all over the country. The technology is already used in the Navy and the subs. We know it. We'll just drop it. It's a container-sized thing. It's like, well, go on then, do it. And it was 2 years ago. So.
But then they work out that they can't actually cool it down.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know if it's always boom, but
water.
Yeah.
So I think at the minute we are in a boom. I think there is possibly a dip coming. However, I think solar has now got such a footing in the market of its own benefits, not only for the saving on electricity, but also the green aspect of it, that it will dip, but not as much as we've seen at the end of the fit tariff. I think it's got much more of its own, I can't think of the word now, but it's more own credentials around it where it will maintain. And there's so many more people doing it anyway that it will continue to go.
I think the green agenda's really got momentum as well now, and I think more and more people are thinking, I want to do something to try and help. So that's definitely it's its own little thing. It's like a wave that it's riding. So
I mean, like I say, new builds. You just got to look at every new build estate now. They are covered in solar. I mean, just this week, we've ordered 1,000 flyers. Congratulations on your new home. Have you thought about adding batteries? Literally, if we pull past an estate, go and fly that estate.
Yeah, good idea.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic idea. Yeah.
Don't pinch it.
Yeah, chances are that patent pending.
Going back to the sizing then. I mean, I've learned through going out on my own and having to actually quote jobs, which is a totally different job to actually being an electrician, is that sort of ideal ratio of solar, if you like, for lack of a better definition, is 100. You want to generate 120% of your energy requirements. So if you look at a customer's bill, always start with a bill. That's a good place to start because it gives you information about properties, locations, working design, and kind of stuff. And let's say they consumed 10,000 kilowatt hours or 10,000 units per year, which is way more than the average household, but it's a good number to work to for this example. And then you said
mental maths.
So we've got 10,000 units of consumption through all these loads, and that's not unrealistic if they have a heat pump and an EV, by the way. Like I'm seeing normal domestic properties using around that quite regularly now. But let's say they use 10,000 a year. You want to size a system that will generate, and this is the rule of thumb, 120% of that. So you want to size a system that will generate 12,000 units or kilowatt hours a year, and that's like an ideal ratio of solar generation over the year versus consumption over the year.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll caveat that
Yeah.
sometimes you might want to have the conversation with the customer, or if you are a customer and you are thinking of having solar, you might want to look maybe 10, 12 years into the future, or maybe start at 5, 10 years into the future and say, am I going to have a heat pump?
Yeah.
Because it's all well and good oversizing by 20%. However, if you then bring a heat pump into the mix, say in 3, 5, 10 years time, that 10%, that 20% oversizing now is not going to be enough. The systems that we are all fitting really should be on that roof for 25 plus years.
Yeah.
And do you want to make that initial investment now? And if you are thinking of doing, like you say, heat pumps, then you want to be, I would say, at least 100% oversizing on what your domestic electrical consumption currently is.
Yeah.
Having also installed heat pumps and have one.
Yeah. I think
So yes, I would agree. 120% is a great thing for now, and it allows for small expansion. Like you, Ollie, you've got young kids, and you now know that even at 9 months they seem to consume a lot of electric. So that allows for that little bit of expansion in kids and family growth. But if you are thinking of, say, having a heat pump or an EV, then you might want to mention to your installer that actually I am planning on this, and then we can kind of design that in at this stage.
Yeah, and like you were saying earlier, for the price of an extra panel or 5 or 10, compared to the overall cost of the system, it just makes sense to put as many panels as you can on. But we're the installers, so we're not the ones that have to pay for it.
Yeah, but I do think a lot of customers get the bug once they've seen the app, don't they? And they go, "Oh, if only I could just get that bit more generation." Regardless of where it's actually exporting in the peak of the summer, they're always sort of, they're itching. They're like, "Oh yeah, just have a bit more."
I've always said it, and I'm sure I've said it on this podcast as well as other podcasts. EV charging apps, and I'm going to use the MyEnergy Zappy one as a thing. That is the gateway drug to renewables. Because as soon as you can see the little arrows moving around, and you've got a visual representation of how much electricity you are using, the next thing within weeks of having that is, how do I get that to be lower? And how do I get that to be zero? So for me, EV charging apps with your charger are gateway drug to renewables and batteries.
Yeah, that's if we're talking about that, my energy ecosystem is really good for that. I love the Zappy. It's pretty much all I install now. It's the best. And when they've got the app, you can say to them, "Oh well, if you were to get a Libby, the my energy virtual battery system, that integrates into this app really well. So you would see that here in this app, and they hear that and they sort of think, oh, this is great. Oh, and by the way, there's a hot water heater. You can potentially monitor other loads as well if you want to have a heat pump. And that, like you say, is a foot in the door or gateway drug to this sort of solar journey. And it is.
Yeah, it's the ecosystem of things.
Yeah, and it allows you just to sort of sell them the dream. I
mean, I think without them apps, we all see just a bill that hits the door, and you've got a 300, however your direct debit is a month of, oh, that's what my electricity costs, because you can't see it. It's not like water. So they are the gateway drug, and they are also, if you do have them, when we talk about oversized systems and systems design, they're also a real brilliant tool because they give you your energy usage data.
Yeah, true.
Not only as a total for the day, the year, the month, but they also give it at time of day. So we might see that you are got an east-west split and you might not want to do both roofs. Well, we might then be able to see that you're using all your electricity consumption in the evening when your west-facing roof is the better roof to put panels on. So them kind of things also help with system design as well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, the other thing I wanted to talk about in terms of system design is sizing an inverter. So there's this sort of rule of thumb that you should oversize an inverter. So say, for example, the rule of thumb is, again, 1.2 typically. I think the MCS recommendation is 1.33, so 133% oversizing. But 1.2% oversizing is sort of the rule of thumb. And the idea is that the inverter is more efficient when it's running at a higher sort of level of capacity. If it's running at 80% of its capacity, it's more efficient.
I think Sam mentioned this recently on a story, hasn't he, where he had a 6 kilowatt inverter or a 5 kilowatt inverter in the design tool, and because the 5 kilowatt inverter worked harder for longer, it was in its power band, it actually produced more electricity annually than the 6.
Yeah, over the year it produced like an extra 1,000 kilowatts. So it's really counterintuitive, but the small inverter actually produces more power. So it's sort of trying to work out what the best size inverter is. And you sort of assume that putting the biggest inverter in, like a 10 or 12 kilowatt, is like, yeah, let's put the biggest and best in. But if you've only got a 5 kilowatt array, it's maybe not the best thing to do.
I think it comes down to starter voltages and stuff like that, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, and yeah, it's something else that's this sort of water is getting like even muddier because you've then got the battery charge and discharge rates to think about. So on the SIG system that Mike mentioned earlier, your battery modules, each one will discharge at 4 and charge at 4 and peak up to 6. If you put a 5 or a 3 kilowatt inverter in, you're limiting that charge and discharge rate of the battery. But then if you put a bigger inverter in, you're potentially generating less. So these are the sort of decisions you have to make for these systems and, you know, these big expenses that people are making over a 25-year time frame that you really want to consider and get right. But actually, is there a right answer? Or
I don't believe there is.
Yeah, this is it. And there's lots of different sort of schools of thought and lots of different installers saying different things. So it's really tricky to get right, and it's something I've been trying to sort of learn more about and fine tune myself. So yeah, it's.
I mean, one thing I do say to every customer of ours, and I know you are both probably the same, we have never installed 2 like-for-like systems.
Yeah.
No 2 systems that we've ever installed as DMH has ever been the same. They've always been designed for that house, that roof, that usage profile, and that family, if we call it a family, how you use your electricity. However, we've had customers that have then bought or sold them houses and we've gone back to the new owners and we've actually built on that system because they're using more electricity, or the system is now being used in a completely different way to what it was when we initially designed it. So yeah, when we talk about rule of thumbs, yes, they are rule of thumbs, and as I think we'll all agree, MCS guidelines are very much out of date. Return on investment. But I think as modern inverters, like we now look at like transformerless inverters and modern inverters, we've got such a wide voltage range and working range that it can work with panels that it's actually making solar design a little bit easier.
Yeah.
Than it maybe was with the old like sort of SMA Sunny Boys and the old Aurora and ABB inverters where they were on quite tight margins. But I think, like you say, we've got to try and be data driven. I think is the one that I always try and at least take my company and my customers on is, let's look at your data, let's look at your roof.
Yeah.
We know where the sun's going to shine every year, roughly. Okay, we might get the odd rainy day in June, but we know June's going to be nice.
We've got a lot of historic data we can look back at now, and the design tools are really accurate, and they make them so easy to actually forecast that now, don't they? You know, and you can actually give customers real life examples and data of this is.
I mean, I do a lot of our designs still in the Solar Edge design tool, and I have it where you can actually in the Solar Edge, if you design a system in the Solar Edge design tool and push it through to the actual monitor and install that system, you can actually have it plot estimated from the design tool into the customer's app on the finished system, and it's within 5%.
Yeah,
it's really accurate. Isn't it?
It's fantastic.
Yeah,
it is. It's amazing. A few people were just saying in the chat. Libby was actually saying, absolutely fill the roof with a 10 kilowatt inverter, 9 kilowatt hour battery, SIG energy all the way. Connor was saying most are asking for bigger inverters now for battery charge and discharge.
I agree with both of them points. I really do. However, we are now starting to see pushback from DNOs.
Yeah.
Well, you're in that northern power grid region. Dare I say it? But I think equally across the country.
I've been saying this to Mark. Northern Power Grid, and I don't know about you, Ollie, because I know you have the same issues I do with them. I actually seem to be quite good these last 2 weeks and quite responsive. And Mark has said the same to me tonight. He seems to think they are now quite responsive in getting G99 back.
Is that a sign, just quickly, that a sign that things have slowed down a bit? Yeah. Well, we didn't get a letter asking us to take it down yet. So, but I wondered, is that because they've scaled up the team in recognition of the issues, maybe, or is it a slowdown?
I'm seeing new names pop up as design engineers, so possibly.
Yeah.
So,
I had a really good, frank, honest conversation with one of the design engineers who I got in touch with after calling the call center, and they gave me his mobile number. So yeah, they're pretty good, but it's just the system. I think their back end system's really slow and inefficient, and it just takes forever when they just need to get decisions made now. And you know, for most of the jobs I'm sort of designing, it's like a 5 or a 6 kilowatt inverter. I know most of my systems are really big now. It's doing like 10s and 12s quite frequently, which is a really good sign that things are moving on. But you know, for a 5 or 6 kilowatt inverter, let's just invent a new standard and just get it signed off, connect, and then notify. Just allows installers to go out and make the process really easy for customers.
Ireland's their G98 process is 5 kilowatt, isn't it?
in Ireland, yeah. I think
Is it really?
Might have been you that told me that, yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I mean,
They're ahead of the curve.
either change G98 to 5 or come up with G198, change it to 5, whatever. Just allow the installers to do it, and you know, maybe just when you install your 5, set the export limitation to 3.68, because most inverters now have got that technology built in where you can limit the export, and then you know, connect to notify. If they come back and tell you otherwise, you know, you just leave it at 3.68.
So their issue with that is when we set a limit on an inverter, that inverter has technically 5 seconds to react.
Yeah, okay, so it's that latency period.
It's fault current could be really high on the network for up to 5 seconds in theory. That's where their issue comes with that one.
Yeah,
I do agree they need to do something about it.
Yeah, I did I can't think what the test. What is it when they come out to check? I can't think the name of it.
Witness check.
A witness test. I did a witness test with DNO on a Tesla Powerwall, and he was really good actually. The guy, he showed me everything they're kind of looking for, and then did the tests with me, and you know, those sort of things like you say, that latency and the voltage spikes and the voltage, even the voltage drops when it kicks back in. They're things they're looking for and concerned with.
We've got a system, so I've got a little bit more information on it now. We've got a system that's an 8 kilowatt SIG, and it's to go up at Bowes, near Barnard Castle, and it's being pushed back that they need to do a line tap because they are already at 257 volts on the area around there, and they've actually got that information back from smart meter data. And when they said no, so I went back and said, well, can we fit it at 0 export? And they said no. However, I know other contractors that have asked that same question. They've been told yes. So there's no.
Yeah. And the frustration is that, okay, I get the whole volt rise conversation. If you have loads of inverters, it can overwhelm the network. But if you just fit a 3.68 kilowatt inverter, they're still allowing you to connect to notify. So they're basically saying every property can connect an inverter.
At 16 amps, yeah.
Yeah. So like the volt creep, whatever you want to call it, is that actually a thing? I don't know. But whatever the issue is, it just needs to be sorted out. So us as installers and homeowners can invest and grow and, you know, put more power on the network. So yeah,
definitely. Yeah, Mark's saying in the chat that they've found that the inverter size is starting to be dictated more by the power the consumers want in terms of peak load. So yeah, I mean, that's just going to push more and more bigger inverters.
So I think, just going to that point of Mark, obviously Mark's now Mr. YouTube, and obviously a lot of his customers come from YouTube, and they have researched heavily into renewables and kind of know, like we started at the top, start the conversation, where they come to you and they know what they want. They want the biggest inverter, they want the biggest battery, they want the biggest array. So obviously Mark is now getting a lot of that kind of customer. There's obviously still a lot of customers that are still on the 3.68 end of the scale, or even smaller. We've been asked today to put one panel on a new build.
Just to be, to the box.
So
I think the sort of kind of customers who are spending, you know, at the top end of the market on a big expensive system are also the types of people who are likely to have 1 or maybe 2 EVs. They might have a hot tub. They're probably going to get an air source heat pump. They might have other high electrical loads just because they're potentially a more affluent customer with a bigger property that has more, just use more power, so they need a big system.
I mean, the last 5 jobs we've done the full package, where it has been air source and PV all in one go.
Nice.
And it is people, like you say, that are maybe 50 plus and have started to sort of look at that retirement and have got that 60 odd grand to invest into it, where they want the biggest and the best.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, Sam was mentioning on his stories the other day, actually, one of their customers, I don't know if it was his wife, had fell ill and now sort of unable to work. So they're kind of sort of working on early retirement on a lower income, but they're so glad they put the investment into the system and the battery, because the savings they're making on their electric bills has meant that actually they're just that little bit more comfortable now, you know, with the monthly expenses.
Yeah, we've got I think it's, there's a post on our Instagram of Abby, one of our customers, saying, look, she's invested in it now so that she's got, when she does retire in the next 10, 15 years, that she has got more disposable to go on holiday and enjoy her retirement.
Yeah,
definitely. What was Mark saying?
Like going back to the whole design thing, Ollie, all of these systems they're not designed for now. They do all need designing, whether it be 20% over, 50% over. It is a long-term investment, and they do need some design consideration into the future of what you might be putting into that home.
Yeah, you're right. And the types of customers, homeowners who are investing in solar, are the types of customer who are probably going to invest in a heat pump when the boiler dies in X number of years. So that's another really good point.
Yeah, I mean, we've got a gentleman who's 92-year-old that we're currently pricing solar PV and air source heat pump.
Wow.
Lives in his own, and I had the conversation with Andy, what do we do regarding hot water? And it was, well, a real hard conversation to have with Andy, our plumber, and it was, well, we really need to size that cylinder at a lot more water than our customer will use now in that home, because he isn't going to be here forever. And when he does depart, a family of 4 might move into that house. Now, that family of 4 are going to need a lot more than 100 litres of hot water. What are we designing that system for? Are we designing it for now, or are we designing that system for the house and into the future? And that was a real conversation that we've had last week. But it goes over into the heat pump world as well as the PV world.
Yeah, and massively, you don't want to be kicking this kit out, in a few years' time, what a waste of kit if you do. So there is that argument to say, try and size it for now, for the future, and not just now.
You've got to size it for the home and the future of that home possibilities. Like Ollie and his 3 kids, his energy usages have gone up over the last, year old. Since
do you know what? It's absolutely incredible when I look, back at my old bills before we had kids, and look back at it now, or the consumption we use, because thankfully we've managed to put some panels on. But yeah, it's amazing. Like the consumption doubles just by having the kids, if not, triples nearly.
I've got 3 daughters, and I'm waiting for the day that hair straighteners and hair dryers go on. And just hair products a day.
I bet you're glad you've got a heat pump for the hot water.
I had a cold shower the other night because we ran out of hot water. It was used
a bigger cylinder.
Yeah.
You didn't put a big enough cylinder in when you built it.
I had more kids.
It's a good prime example there, isn't it?
Yeah. So just going back to like my scenario there with having cold showers, then yes, we can design that out. We can heat the cylinder for longer instead of trying to heat it at 2 o'clock in the afternoon for an hour. It's basically me trying to be Yorkshire and tight and with electricity as possible. But like my direct debit at home, we now run a hybrid car. I've just this week, as DMH, taken delivery of our first EV. Heat pump, all electric household, no gas, and my direct debit's down to 25 quid. So if these systems are designed right and into the future, then that saving is there for the next 20 years.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter if you have sudden price spikes of the electricity. because your bills might go up a little bit, but they're not going to go up in the same way as everyone else's.
Yeah, I mean, we've now had solar PV on the office for 6 weeks on here, and we've bought 2 kilowatt hours of electricity in the last 6 weeks.
Two. Should be zero, Dan. What happened to the two?
My wife came in.
Our system properly, mate, I'm afraid.
Your wife came in.
My wife came in, and what she did is she went, "Whoa, it's cold in here," and she turned the heating on.
All right, yeah.
Yes.
On the coldest day so far.
So that's going on Wi-Fi, is that heater over there, and I'm going to turn it off when she's here.
Yeah. Benefits of being sparky.
Yeah,
So
Mark
where
was
do
also
you see yourself and Zinc Ollie in the next sort of 6 to 12 months?
Well, I've had a really good run this summer. I've sort of ridden the boom that seems to come every spring, and I've had a lot of subby work from Sam, a bit with yourself, a bit with Mark, a bit with Mike, and a few of my own jobs as well. So this summer's been really good. And my wife's also been on maternity leave, which has been good, but she's going back to work in November, and she's got quite a demanding job working in the hospital. So my sort of plan for the next period is to really try and make my job more efficient and sort of systemize things and make sure that everything's polished, and rather than take on more work, just try and do the same amount of work.
Can I throw a curveball question into that story? Do you see AI helping with that?
Yeah, definitely. I do use ChatGPT quite a lot. I try not to use it for the sort of things that I should use my brain for. So for sort of like mental arithmetic, I like mental arithmetic, so it keeps it sharp, and I like to do my own research. So I try not to use it for that. But in terms of like doing quick research for things when I'm on a job, I can sort of I did that for Mike today. We just did a quick volt calculation per circuit. It was like a 60-meter run for a Monday socket. We thought, blimey, we actually better check this. So we did. And like polishing proposals, just like spell checking, formatting, things like that are really good. I had a guy come and do work experience with me. So I asked ChatGPT to make a one-page induction for him, which was good. And you then have to tweak it and revise it. But things like that is a really powerful tool. And it's making my life more efficient. But yeah, for me, over the next period, as my wife goes back to work and we go through winter and things probably will slow down, but just try and make my job and my business more efficient and improve the experience for my customers. And part of that is my own learning, part of it is systems. But yeah, just trying to work with what I've got. I've been doing a bit of rebranding, so sort of get all that finished off and just keep taking small steps towards next spring, and then next spring, just ride the wave again when it comes. And yeah, like longer term, I do have big aspirations for Zinc, but I do need to be realistic about my own journey as a business, because I'm only nearly 2 years in, so I'm still pretty green in terms of my business, and I'm not in a rush. And also my sort of family and life situation as well. And at the moment, I'm just really enjoying it. Like, I'm loving working with Mike, and I love working with Sam and the Ava crew, and it's been really good to work with you and other guys like Mark. And yeah, the more of that I can do. I've got a guy coming down from Kilburn, where the White Horse is, there's something back soon to do a job with me and Mike, and just trying to sort of keep building this community and get more people around us to help us on jobs when we need help, because these jobs are difficult. So yeah, that's sort of my plan for the next period into spring, really.
Good.
Yeah.
I look forward to watching it and having you back with us, hopefully in the not too distant future, and continue to grow and just your trials and tribulations.
It's nice to see. Yeah, it's nice to see everyone sort of growing and doing well. But also, what was nice, we were having a chat earlier in the week with a group of us, Ollie, weren't we? And how you've been able to sort of balance that family time. It's very difficult, but being able to take those important moments with the family and do those things, and not go all in on work and forgetting the family. So
that's it. And that's when I left Sam. That was one of the sort of big things for the decision to go out on my own, was to have a bit more flexibility, which is hilarious now, because now I'm a small business owner. And it's like way worse than it ever was with Sam. But say for example on a Friday afternoon, I can just say, well, I'm rewiring this downstairs socket circuit, but I'm going to tell the customer I've got to go. I did have to go to a survey on the way home, but do a survey on the way home. And then I got home at like 2 on Friday, and I rode my bike to pick up my son from school. And I was riding home thinking, like, this is success. Like, this is value. Like, forget numbers on a spreadsheet, or like how freaking awesome that design and installation was and how satisfied your customers is. Like picking your kid up from school on a Friday and riding home on your bike while he's giggling and telling you not to crash is like that for me at the moment is so powerful. So although I can't push my business as hard as I want because I'm old and I've got a family and all this stuff, like there's all these other things that build into this sort of balanced life that are just so valuable. So yeah, it's really hard,
Really good.
electrical contracting, but stuff like that just keeps me going, and you guys as well. So yeah,
The small wins.
yeah, that's it.
Definitely. I do enjoy the community of it all. But yeah, Ollie, it's been great finally having this sort of chat, live chat with you and that. And thanks for joining us on that. I don't know if you want to add anything else, Dan. I think it's solar and storage next week. Believe it or not, it's come around quick.
What I was going to add, I'm there on Tuesday. I think you're there Tuesday as well, aren't you? Are you coming to solar and storage, Ollie?
I'm not because family. My sister is over from Australia with her family, so her husband and 3 kids. So I've actually taken next week off work to spend time with them because, family. I'm prioritising my family basically, which is really hard to do because I love solar and storage and I love my business. But yeah, these are the sort of values that I'm trying to live by, and actually putting action into work.
I can't help but feel that what Ollie's wife's stood behind the camera now going like this sitting. No, I can't blame you. So, especially if you live a long way away.
No, definitely.
So, solar and storage is next week, and I am there Tuesday. Mike is there. I think he's probably be there. I think he's setting it up and probably taking it down as well, aren't you, Mike? You seem to go for 4 or 5 days in these things.
Actually, ironically, I've had an invite to the SIG Energy Awards as well, so I might be going to that on the. I think it's the Tuesday evening.
Yeah, so that is next week. I think we've also got a podcast coming out just before then with Van der Valk, haven't we?
Yes, we've got an episode with Van der Valk, which I think is coming out on Monday, so just in time for solar and storage, because I think they've got some exciting stuff going on down at solar and storage, so we might be able to
drive up or down to the NEC.
Down. Yeah, or across.
Or across. Whichever direction you're coming from.
Yeah,
by helicopter. But yeah, that's
it. Yeah, so thanks again, everyone, for joining us, and yes, we'll see you on the next one. Yeah, thanks, Ollie, and thanks, Dan. See you soon.
Thanks for having me. Bye.
Cheers, guys.